There's no other place anywhere on earth than I would rather be than in the octagon.
Tom Aspinall's rise in the UFC is nothing short of amazing.
That motherfucker is dangerous. Yeah. Dangerous.
Yeah.
Imagine starting off a bit hesitant to join the big league and then zooming up to become a top dog in the heavyweight division.
Tom Aspinall is a contender. He is nothing to be playing with.
I've been involved in martial arts, mate, since I was 8 years old. I'm 30.
He's not just throwing punches, he's dodging setbacks, nailing comebacks, and showing us what grit really looks like.
I think because a lot of my fights have been quick, people think I just train for like 1 minute fights. But I can actually do 3 rounds, believe it or not.
He's not your average fighter. He's a standout example in MMA, a guy who shows us that chasing your dreams, no matter how tough, is always worth it.
You have to believe stuff like I can beat John Jones. Otherwise, what's the point in doing this sport?
This is the story of Tom Aspinall. Tom Aspinall's journey started in Wigan, England back in 1993. His dad, Andy, had a stable job in IT. However, he had always been into martial arts and was a former fighter himself. Eventually, the call of his true passion became too strong to ignore. Making a decisive career shift, Andy chose to leave his IT job to pursue his passion for martial arts, committing himself to teach Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu on a full-time basis.
Tom started to grapple when he was maybe 6 or 7. When he was about 10 or 11, he started to really enjoy it. And because I was teaching jiu-jitsu, he was with me every day.
Tom showed he was a natural at Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and with his dad's help, he won in several categories at the British Open. This was a positive indication he might have been cut out for success in MMA.
The way that me, my dad and Colin looked at it when I was fighting amateur was, we'll just take as many hard fights as we can at amateur to get the most experience we can.
And so, at the tender age of 17, Aspinall stepped into the amateur MMA arena, not just to participate, but to conquer, amassing 6 consecutive victories.
I really enjoyed the amateur days, actually. I would have had 50 fights if I could. Problem was, with my amateur fights, is I basically ran out of people to fight.
Turning pro in 2014 was more than a career move. It was the dawn of a new era. He blazed through the regional circuit with an impressive 9-2 record, a testament to his skill, determination, and the promise of an extraordinary career.
Turning pro. Same as with the amateur thing, like I wanted to have as many fights as I possibly could.
Despite a string of victories, the financial rewards on the regional circuit were meager. At one point, the harsh reality of financial pressures nearly pushed him to abandon his MMA dreams for a more conventional job, leading to a 2-year hiatus.
It was very rough for me with MMA, to be honest. I had a child, and then we found out that we were having twins. I wasn't getting no regular fights, and people were like, what are you gonna do? Like, how are you gonna provide for your family? I was training all the time. I was struggling to get opponents though, and the fights just weren't coming through, and that was probably the toughest time of my whole career.
But ultimately, Tom's father encouraged him to keep chasing his dream.
I was giving up MMA, packing in altogether, and I thought, Tom can make it to the top. So we went through heartfelt, you've got to do this. Eventually we talked him round and then he came back.
And so in 2019, Tom joined Cage Warriors, an Irish-owned MMA promotion based in London. Keep in mind, he had declined an earlier offer from the UFC, feeling unprepared for such a colossal step. But after winning 2 quick fights in Cage Warriors, he felt more confident. Plus, he needed more challenges, so he finally joined the UFC in 2020, marking a significant milestone in his career.
Cage Warriors were really struggling to get me opponents, and they told me that. And I thought, I'm back to where I was like 2 years ago, so obviously we went for the UFC, and obviously it was the right move, so I'm happy with it.
Tom Aspinall really shook things up in his UFC debut. Picture this, July 2020, UFC Fight Island 3, and there's Aspinall stepping into the octagon with a vibe that screams confidence.
Was there just more pressure to represent for the UK tonight?
To be honest, I don't think about all that kind of stuff. I just think about, it's just a sport for me. I'm not thinking about any pressure or who's watching or who's won and who's lost. I ain't bothered. I'm just going in there and I'm just trying to do my thing. And I just focus on my own thing, to be honest.
He's up against Jake Collier, a seasoned fighter. But get this, Aspinall with his knockout right hand wraps up the match in under a minute.
A bit sloppy with the strikes, and I'm a dangerous striker, so anytime you're going to be sloppy and stuff like that with me, you're going to get caught and it's going to be over. So it just went as planned.
That performance not only snagged him his first UFC win, but also landed him the Performance of the Night award. Now that's how you announce your arrival in the UFC.
I always expected to one day be in the UFC, and I expect one day to be UFC heavyweight champion as well. Do you know what I mean? It's not like blindsiding me kind of thing. It's what I always envisioned and made. So it was a good year. Like you said, things started going well.
3 months later, at UFC Fight Night 179, Aspinall didn't just fight, he dominated. He stepped up his game big time against Alan Baudot. It was like watching a masterclass in strength and precision. He wasn't just throwing punches, he was crafting a knockout symphony. And boy, did it pay off. He nailed a quick knockout, skyrocketing up the division ranks. It was a quick knockout, but it spoke volumes. Aspinall wasn't just winning a fight, he was making a statement that he was the next big rising star in the heavyweight division. Not to be overlooked, he took home a second consecutive Performance of the Night award, but he didn't stop there. In his next bout, Aspinall faced former UFC heavyweight champion Andrei Arlovski.
I tell you what, guys, Andrei Arlovski is an uncrowned heavyweight champ. I want to say he's a two-time heavyweight champ.
Arlovski wasn't just another opponent for Aspinall. He was a key figure in his love for MMA.
My dad has been, coaching down at the gym for a long, long time. So we went to the weigh-ins in Manchester, and I must have been at this time 14 years old or something like that. I don't even think I was doing MMA training at the time. I think I'd done a bit of jiu-jitsu, done a bit of boxing and stuff like that. We got there, it was absolutely packed. We were sat up in the nosebleeds, and Andrei Arlovski walked on the scales, and he was wearing some cream, I don't know what you guys would call it. We would call it joggers, maybe like
sweatpants.
Like sweatpants.
Yeah,
sweatpants, yeah.
Yeah.
And he had the no t-shirt on, and he had the big cross around his neck, and he was ripped, and he was big, and he had the fangs in, I think, and he had the long hair as well. Mm-hmm. And I remember he put his arm up when he stepped on the scales, and the crowd went absolutely insane. And that was the moment I thought, I've got to do this stuff, man. Like, I want to be that guy.
In a display of strategic diversity, he secured a win via submission, proving he's not just a knockout artist.
He doesn't intimidate me.
Lifts this leg here to kick. Go ahead. Before it even goes down, he's already driving through. You guys see that? Before that leg even goes down, in other words, he's committing. Andrei Arlovski did the wrong thing of allowing this dude to kind of get on top of him this way. And then his back should have been against the cage. And then he was able to get the rear naked choke.
Fighting guys like this is good for me because I can learn off these guys.
True to form, this victory also earned him another well-deserved Performance of the Night bonus.
I think because a lot of my fights have been quick, people think I just train for 1 minute fights. But I can actually do 3 rounds, believe it or not.
Aspinall's trajectory in the UFC was becoming increasingly impressive.
The UFC gave you Andrei Arlovski for a reason. They obviously want to start pushing you up the rank.
I don't know. I guess we just see how that kind of stuff plays out, I'm not someone who thinks stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? I'm just training for my fight, and I'm going to fight, and I'm going to look good in my fight, and that's it. I'm not really too bothered. If I sat here worrying all day about what's going to happen in the future, I'd never get anything done.
Tom Aspinall is a contender. He is nothing to be playing with.
Truth be told, Aspinall has that rare ability to combine power, speed, and technique. This was also evident in his next fight, this time against Sergey Spivak, as he showed off his incredible hand speed to quickly put away the Moldovan fighter in less than 3 minutes.
I'm not like a Francis Ngannou or anything like that. I'm just super, super fast. And these guys don't see the shots, so that's the ones that hurt these guys.
He shoots in, and then right away he's, he does the right thing. If you notice, he squared up with them, got it. He squared up with them, got an angle, but then yet he was able to catch that knee to eventually get that elbow.
And you know it. He also collected yet another performance of the night bonus.
You got performance of the night.
I did.
Yes. Did I really? Oh, ring your mum.
March 2022 brought a new challenge for Tom Aspinall, headlining UFC Fight Night 204.
Main event at the O2 Arena. Feels good, right?
Love it.
It's the best, isn't it?
It's the best.
Yeah.
Against Alexander Volkov, a former Bellator heavyweight champ with a towering presence and a reach that's become the stuff of legends. Volkov entered the UFC in 2016 and made a name for himself by taking down his opponents with his lethal strikes. But there's Aspinall entering London's O2 Arena filled with 20,000 fans buzzing with anticipation. Does he feel the pressure? Not a bit. He walks to the octagon cool as a cucumber, ready for whatever comes his way. The fight started with a burst of energy as Aspinall unleashed low kicks and connected a combination to Volkov's jaw.
That motherfucker is dangerous.
Yeah.
Dangerous.
Yeah. In response, Volkov landed a sharp kick to Aspinall's belly. Aspinall then achieved a significant body lock takedown, moving into side control.
It's a beautiful body lock. Notice what he does with his outside leg. Notice how he's tripping here. So he's got a lock here, his face here, and then he's tripping with that outside knee. That's the way you're supposed to bear hug people.
Although Volkov recovered to half guard, Aspinall inflicted damage with short elbows. When Volkov attempted to wall walk, Aspinall struck him with a powerful knee. Once standing, Volkov hit a few strikes despite being against the fence. But Aspinall countered with rapid jabs and forceful low kicks, followed by another successful double leg takedown.
Volkov was starting to land some shots, and then he took him down. He knew. And
his timing on his takedowns and his entrances is just fucking phenomenal.
Is he a wrestler or a boxer?
He secured a Kimura, transitioning to a straight armbar as Volkov resisted, leading to a decisive tap out.
What does it tell you with a guy like Tom Aspinall? And he's got a bag of tricks. He really does have a bag of tricks. And you don't know what is that he's gonna pull out next.
And with this win, Aspinall received another Performance of the Night award.
Going all right, innit? It's going well so far. Can't complain.
Things, however, would soon took a turn for the worse as he stepped into the cage with Curtis Blades. July 2022 was marked by an electrifying anticipation as the O2 Arena in London prepared for a headline event featuring Aspinall against the wrestling maestro Curtis Blades in a fight that was expected to have title ramifications. Blades, with a career shadowed by remarks of being boring due to his overwhelming dominance in the ring, boasted a record of 16 wins, 3 losses, and 1 no contest, and was on a winning roll. However, the scales seemed tipped in favor of Aspinall, the more well-rounded fighter, leading to widespread speculation of his triumph in this much-awaited encounter. Unfortunately, the fight's trajectory changed dramatically and unexpectedly for Aspinall. Moments after the heavyweights started trading strikes, Blades countered with a precise and heavy punch in response to Aspinall's leg kick. This move abruptly sent Aspinall down, collapsing onto the canvas while holding his knee.
It was a bit of a wild start, to be honest. It was a bit full on both, like we were both going for it, like right from the bell, but we missed each other like a few times each, and then I just landed a leg kick, and as I went to step on it, I didn't even realise it didn't hurt when I landed it, and then as I went to step on it, like my leg wouldn't straighten out, you know, to step. It was just locked like that, like bent. I don't like to talk about it too much because it's like people say like, well, why did you fight with a bad knee? But that bad knee has been bad
for years.
Mate, I've had that since before I was in the UFC.
Yeah.
And it just so happened, for whatever reason, that night, I kicked him and my knee just locked up completely. I kicked him, my knee locked, and I just couldn't move it. It just, something snapped in there, and then that was it. So
the match ended abruptly as the referee quickly called off the fight at the 15-second mark of the first round, resulting in Blades achieving a TKO victory.
What's just happened? Like, what's even just happened? Like, we didn't know what was going on.
This outcome marked Aspinall's first defeat since 2016. Blades, caught in a mix of surprise and uncertainty, hesitated to celebrate his unexpected victory.
I think it was a bit more complicated than they thought, because it took like twice as long.
After a few weeks of anticipation and concern, Aspinall underwent a critical surgery. The operation revealed the full extent of his injuries: a torn MCL, a damaged meniscus, and ACL damage.
Being injured in general, it's not a good spot to be in. It's quite depressing. It hurts, especially when you have surgery, mate. My leg was all busted up, I couldn't walk, my knee was all swollen up. To be injured as a professional athlete is something that I'm obsessed with training. I love training, train twice a day, regardless of if I've got a fight or not. Being unable to do that and not knowing when I'm going to be able to train and fight again, it's difficult, mate, mentally. And for it to happen in front of like literally millions of people on a massive fight, like that was the biggest fight in my career at the time, a massive fight in front of the O2 Arena, home fans and everything, mate, it was some of the most depressing times of my life. Yeah, I'm not even just going to say career. No. It was some of the most depressing times in my life. But
the madness of a fight build-up and everything, and obviously you think you're going to be coming off a big win and that, don't you? Yeah. And I always think, oh, I'll have a nice bonus, I'll be able to chill for the rest of the summer, I'm going to be on holiday for 3 weeks with the family and all that, and it just didn't work out like that. So I'm smashing the rehab, I'm smashing the everything. Like, my focus has been 100% on getting better, and like I said before, like, when I come back, I'm not like, before I was like, it wasn't like I was using it for an excuse, but there's a lot of stuff that I couldn't do, and I was always like, I've got to be careful with it. There's none of that anymore, mate. It's like, I'm coming back when I'm ready, and I'm going to go and win the title now, and that's it. I'm going to win the title. There's no two ways about it. That's what I'm doing.
His injury put a sudden brake on his rapid ascent, leading to speculation about his ability to return to form. It took a full year before he could answer these doubts.
One of the reasons that I wanted to, well, I'm always going to come back regardless, but especially now I've got 2 working legs.
In July 2023, he faced Marcin Tybura in the Octagon, a crucial match testing his comeback and contending status.
And mate, my knee I'm doing stuff now, even like, I think I'm like 4 months post-surgery now. I'm doing stuff now that I've literally not been able to do for years.
Just moments into the bout, Aspinall put his surgically repaired leg to the test with a powerful right high kick that staggered his opponent.
I noticed Tybura, when you throw the jab, in a lot of his fights he does like this kind of thing with his head. So that's something we all picked up on, the coaches picked up on and stuff, and we practiced it a lot. It was just with the jab, he slips the head kick.
The crowd erupted, chanting his name in a wave of excitement. While Tybura managed to recover, Aspinall's superior speed became evident as he landed quick strikes and skillfully evaded his opponent's responses. The fight reached its decisive moment when Aspinall connected with an elbow and successive punches, causing Marcin Tybura to fall and leading the referee to stop the fight.
I knew he'd beat him, but not like this. I mean, it was even competitive. And just what he's been doing lately, man, the guy is such a fucking savage.
With this win, he received his 5th Performance of the Night bonus award.
What can you possibly do more that you've delivered already?
Right, there's a lot more than I can do, than I've shown. I've shown like a really, really small percentage of my game. And especially since I've got 2 legs now, and not even that, but just like my whole body's healed up because I've not been beasting it all the time going from camp to camp. Like I just feel so much more, I don't know, looser, move around way better, I'm quicker, I'm stronger, I'm bigger, I'm more muscular, I'm more technical, like just everything, mate, everything.
Every other heavyweight on the planet just dropped their coffee at that point. Faster and bigger and stronger than ever.
Right, well watch this then.
If you gave me $100,000 and I could bet on one fighter that I can guarantee is going to be a world champion, Tom Aspinall.
And then, on very short notice, Aspinall found himself facing Sergey Pavlovich in a crucial bout for the interim UFC heavyweight championship.
Do you know what? I got the call early in the morning, so I was sleeping. And it was off someone really high up in the UFC, not Dana White, but someone really high up who's never called me before. And I could hear my phone vibrating at the side of me, like this. And I was like, that's weird, someone ringing me at that time. So I picked it up, and as I picked it up, I seen the person's name, and then it went off. You know, like it stopped ringing. I thought, right, we're just going to go back to sleep. It's like 6 a.m, I've got a few hours. And then obviously my mind just starts going. And as soon as my mind started going, I was like, someone's pulling out of New York here. I just knew it straight away. So I rung him back and he said, listen, I'm not going to tell you what's happened because it's not for sure yet. I'm going to let you know in the next 24 hours. And I was supposed to be going on holiday the next day. So I said, listen, you're going to have to let me know because I'm going on holiday. I'm going away tomorrow. Anyway, he rung me back at 4 a.m. the following night and he told me what's going on. He said, John Jones is injured. Stipe doesn't want to fight anybody else apart from John Jones. So you and Big Pavers on MSG, and I said, I'm in.
Pavlovich, with a formidable professional MMA record of 18 wins and 1 loss, was widely regarded as a serious contender.
Hollywood has brought us a mystique of the quiet, baby-faced Russian assassin, and here's the guy.
With some even speculating he could be the one to knock out Aspinall.
Tom Aspinall was supposed to be man number 7 to get put down and to sleep against his will inside of 5 minutes.
During the bout, Aspinall went low with the kicks, but Pavlovich hit him early with a power punch. Aspinall then connected with a massive right hand, followed by another that dropped his opponent.
If I could put someone on the back, they're getting finished. Simple as that. Look at my career, look at the fights that I've done. There's not many people get up once I put them there, and if they do, I return them straight away. And yeah, that's definitely an advantage that I've got, is if I put him on his back.
He followed up with some ground punches and overall needed only 69 seconds to earn his 11th career knockout win, and then collapsed in tears on the canvas. Fun fact, he has made it to the second round just once in his 8 UFC fights.
I'm happy for him. You know, it's never been about me. It's always been to try and spend the time with him, to help him and make my life better, because it's the same with my other child. You know, I spend as much time as I can. And this is just a product of what we do every day.
Tom Aspinall's path in the UFC is like a master class in turning challenges into triumphs. Think about it. He went from being hesitant about joining the UFC to totally owning it in the heavyweight division. The guy's got a track record of nailing victory after victory, and even a knee injury couldn't hold him back. As he forges ahead in his UFC career, Tom's more than a fighter. He's an inspiration, showing us all what you can achieve with grit and determination.
I'm meant to be here, like I was born to be here. It's hard to explain, it sounds kind of corny, but I honestly feel like that's what I'm supposed to do.